Welcome, dear seekers of knowledge, as we dive headfirst into the fascinating realm of the human mind. Today, we will explore an intriguing psychological concept that significantly impacts our perception of productivity and creativity. Often referred to as the secret weapon of high achievers, it's a state of total absorption where time seems to slip away, yes. We are talking about the enigmatic flow state. Have you ever been so engrossed in an activity that you lose track of time? This could be anything from painting a beautiful piece of art to solving a challenging math problem or even playing a video game. You're wholly focused, completely absorbed, and perform at your peak without conscious effort. This, my friends, is the flow state. It's a unique mental state where the person is fully immersed in activity, and their creative juices are flowing effortlessly. In this deep dive exploration, we'll try to unravel the mysteries of the flow state. What triggers it? How does it affect our brain functions? Can we consciously tap into this state for our benefit? If these questions have piqued your interest, you're in for a treat. The concept of flow was first introduced by a Hungarian psychologist, Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. In the 1970s, he described it as the ultimate form of happiness, where individuals are so engaged in an activity that nothing else seems to matter. But it's not just about happiness. It's also about peak performance. When in this state, individuals often report feeling strong, alert, in effortless control, unself-conscious, and at the peak of their abilities. This is why athletes, artists, musicians, and even gamers seek this state, for it harnesses their complete potential. However, achieving this state is not as easy as it sounds. It requires a delicate balance of challenge and skill, where the task at hand is neither too easy to bore you nor too difficult to overwhelm you. And herein lies the paradox. The more you consciously try to achieve this state, the more elusive it becomes in the realm of human experience. There are moments so profound they seem to transcend the boundaries of our ordinary perception, where time dilates, the mind quiets, and we become utterly absorbed in the task at hand. This is what psychologists call flow state, a mental state of being completely immersed and focused in one's activity. The concept of flow was first extensively researched by Hungarian psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. The story goes that one day, while studying artists and athletes who seemed to reach a state of optimal performance effortlessly, Csikszentmihalyi noticed a common thread. Despite the diverse range of activities, from painting to running, the individuals described their experience in similar language. They felt in the zone, on a roll, or in the groove. They spoke of a sense of effortless concentration and enjoyment in what they were doing, a state of being that Csikszentmihalyi would go on to name flow. But what is flow state exactly? And how does it happen? To put it simply, flow is a mental state where you are so involved in an activity that you lose your sense of time and self. Your focus narrows to the task at hand, and everything else fades into the background. It's akin to being in a meditative state, but with a key difference. In flow, you're not just passively observing your thoughts. You're actively engaged in a task that requires your full attention. Flow can happen during any activity, but it's most likely to occur when we are doing something we are skilled at and enjoy. It's those moments when we're playing a musical instrument, and the notes just seem to flow from our fingers, or when we're writing, and the words pour out onto the page. The paradox of flow is that it often happens when you stop trying so hard. This is because flow requires a delicate balance between challenge and skill. If the task is too easy, we get bored. If it's too hard, we get anxious. But when the task is just right, not too hard, not too easy, we can lose ourselves in it. We stop worrying about the outcome or what others might think and focus solely on the task itself. The ego falls away and we become one with the activity. But why do we enter flow state? What's happening in our brain when we're in the zone? In the realm of human performance, there's a mysterious, almost mystical state of consciousness that athletes, artists, and high achievers of all types aspire to enter. This elusive state is known as the flow state, a term coined by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in the 1970s. Flow state is often described as being in the zone or experiencing a peak performance moment. But what exactly is this flow state? In essence, it's a mental state in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment. It's when you're so absorbed in the task at hand that all sense of time and self-consciousness disappears. It is, in a word, effortless. You're not pushing or forcing anything. You're simply in harmony with what you're doing now. Let's delve a little deeper. In a flow state, there's a perfect balance between skill and challenge. The challenge is just enough to stretch your skills, but not so much that it becomes frustrating. It's like walking a tightrope. If the task is too easy, you'll get bored and lose interest. If it's too hard, you'll become anxious and stressed. But if the balance is just right, you'll enter the flow state. Csikszentmihalyi identified several characteristics of the flow state. These include intense concentration, a sense of control over one's actions, loss of self-awareness, a distorted sense of time, immediate feedback, and an intrinsic motivation. Meaning whatever produces flow becomes its own reward. The flow state has been studied extensively, and research has revealed that it has profound benefits. It boosts performance, sparks creativity, enhances learning, and improves mental well-being. It's no wonder that individuals from all walks of life, athletes, artists, scientists, writers, and others, are continually seeking this state. But how does one enter the flow state? It's not as complicated as it may seem. The first step is choosing an activity you're passionate about. The stronger your passion, the easier it will be to get into the flow. Next, you need to make sure the challenge matches your skill level. Flow state, a term coined by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, refers to a mental state in which a person performing an activity is fully immersed in a feeling of energized focus, full involvement, and enjoyment. It's the feeling of being in the zone, of being completely absorbed in what you're doing. But what causes this state? What is the science behind it? At its core, flow state is a neurological condition. In a flow state, the brain functions differently than it does in its normal day-to-day operations. The first thing that happens when you enter a flow state is a process called transient hypofrontality. This is a fancy term for the temporary slowing down of the prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for self-monitoring and impulse control. Normally, your prefrontal cortex is working overtime, constantly evaluating and critiquing your actions. It's the voice in your head that second-guesses your decisions, worries about the future, and dwells on the past. In a flow state, this part of your brain takes a back seat. You're not thinking about how you're performing or what others might think of you. You're simply absorbed in the task at hand. In addition to this, there's also a change in your brain waves. Normally, your brain operates at a beta wave frequency associated with alertness and logical thinking. but in a flow state. Your brain to an alpha wave frequency, which is associated with daydreaming, relaxation, and creativity. This allows for increased imagination and innovative thinking. Furthermore, neurochemicals play a significant role in the experience of flow. Certain neurotransmitters and hormones, including dopamine, endorphins, and serotonin, flood the brain during a flow state. Dopamine, for instance, increases focus, motivation, and enjoyment. Endorphins act as a natural painkiller, allowing you to push beyond your usual physical limits, and serotonin contributes to feelings of well-being and happiness. Flow also triggers the release of a hormone called anandamide. This hormone, named after the Sanskrit word for bliss, boosts lateral thinking, our ability to make connections between seemingly unrelated ideas. The benefits of achieving a flow state are profound and really worth understanding. Imagine a state of mind where you are fully engaged. Your concentration is laser-focused, and your actions feel effortless, fluid, even automatic. This is flow state, a mental state of being completely immersed in what you're doing, losing track of time and space, resulting in an amplified sense of creativity, productivity, and accomplishment. Flow isn't about striving. It's about surrendering to the task at hand. It's a state where our skills and challenges are perfectly balanced, leading us to an optimal performance level. If we're too skilled for a task, we get bored. If it's too challenging, we become anxious. The magic happens in that sweet spot in between, where we're pushing our abilities just enough to keep us engaged and growing. The benefits of the flow state don't stop at creativity and productivity. Flow also brings about an increased sense of happiness and fulfillment. When we're in the flow, we're not just doing well, we're thriving. This is because flow is strongly linked to the release of several feel-good neurotransmitters in our brain, like dopamine, serotonin, and endorphins, which are associated with feelings of happiness and well-being. Furthermore, flow state can help us deal with stress more effectively. It's like being in a state of meditation. Our worries and anxieties fade away, replaced by a sense of calm and clarity. This can also lead to a decrease in cortisol, the body's primary stress hormone. In the realm of personal development, flow state can foster growth and learning. Researchers have found that people in flow state can pick up new skills and information faster than they ordinarily would, because flow stimulates the brain in a way that enhances learning. It's like a supercharged state for personal growth. Flow can also improve our relationships. When we're in flow state, our egocentric tendencies diminish. We become more and responsive to others, leading to deeper connections, whether it's in a team setting at work or a personal relationship. Flow can enhance collaboration and understanding. But how real are these benefits? Can we consciously enter the flow state, or is it a fleeting state that we can't control? Achieving flow state is not a mere coincidence. It requires a certain level of intentionality and practice. A person cannot just stumble upon this state of mental clarity and heightened focus. It is a destination, and like any destination, it requires a map, a plan, and a journey. To begin this journey, you must first understand your capabilities and limitations. Flow state is most easily achieved when you're performing tasks that are just the right level of challenge for your skills. If the task is too easy, you'll become bored. If it's too difficult, you'll become anxious. It's about finding that sweet spot, where the task at hand is neither too simple nor too complex. In addition to matching the difficulty level of the task with your capabilities, a clear set of goals and immediate feedback is also crucial. These elements provide a roadmap for your mind, helping you measure your progress and adjust your actions accordingly. For instance, if you're trying to write a novel, your goal could be to finish a chapter by the end of the day. As you write, you receive immediate feedback through your satisfaction with the sentences, or through editing and revising your work. Another essential aspect of achieving flow state is deep focus, or a state of complete absorption in the task. This involves eliminating distractions around you, which could include turning off your phone or choosing a quiet place to work. It also means focusing all your attention on the task, not letting your mind wander to other concerns or worries. But focus should not be mistaken for strain. Flow state is not about gritting your teeth and forcing concentration. Rather, it's about letting go, about getting lost in the joy of the task. It's a state of effortless attention, where the task at hand becomes so engaging that everything else fades away. Moreover, practice plays a pivotal role in reaching the flow state. In conclusion, the psychology of a flow state is a fascinating and complex phenomenon that can greatly enhance the quality of our lives. When you stop trying to force things and instead allow yourself to be immersed in the present moment, you can achieve a state of effortless focus and productivity that can lead to profound personal growth and satisfaction. The flow state is all about striking a balance. It's about finding that sweet spot between challenge and skill, where you're engaged but not overwhelmed. It's about allowing yourself to be fully present and immersed in what you're doing, rather than being distracted by thoughts of the past or the future. This is when you stop trying to control everything and just let it happen in its natural course. When you enter this state of flow, you are no longer merely a passive observer of your life. You become an active participant, fully engaged in the process of living. You become more attuned to your surroundings, more sensitive to the subtleties and nuances of every moment. You become more aware of your own thoughts and feelings, and more capable of responding to them in a healthy and productive way. And the benefits of achieving a flow state are not just limited to your personal and professional life. The flow state can also have profound effects on your physical health. Studies have shown that when you're in a state of flow, your body releases a cascade of biochemicals that can boost your immune system, improve your mood, and even slow down the aging process. But perhaps the most significant benefit of the flow state is the sense of peace and contentment it brings. When you're in a state of flow, you're not just doing what you love, you're being who you are. You're living in alignment with your true nature. And this can lead to a deep sense of fulfillment and happiness. And the beautiful thing about the flow state is that it's accessible to everyone. It's not just for athletes or artists or geniuses. It's for anyone who is willing to let go of their preconceived notions and expectations and simply be in the moment. It's for anyone who is willing to embrace the beauty and complexity of life in all its messy, unpredictable glory. So, how do we cultivate this state of flow? It starts with mindfulness. In conclusion, the power of the flow state cannot be underestimated. It is a state of consciousness where we become completely absorbed in the task at hand, leading to enhanced performance and happiness. It is the state where we stop trying, and it just happens. We dove deep into the science behind this phenomenon, exploring the work of Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who coined the term flow state. He described it as the optimal experience, a state of peak performance and joy, where we lose ourselves in the activity and where time seems to fly. He revealed that flow can be achieved by anyone in any activity, as long as it provides a challenge and requires skill. We discussed the 4 essential components of flow: clear goals, immediate feedback, a balance between the perceived challenges and skills, and focused attention. When these conditions are met, we enter the flow state, and extraordinary things happen. We experience heightened creativity, productivity, and satisfaction. Flow is not just about performing at your best. It's also about enjoying the process, achieving a sense of fulfillment, and elevating the quality of your life. We looked at the correlation between flow and happiness, and how individuals who frequently experience flow in their daily lives report higher levels of overall happiness. We explored the concept of effortless action, or Wu Wei in Taoism, which aligns perfectly with the flow state. It espouses the idea of letting go, not forcing things, but allowing them to happen naturally. We found that when we stop trying so hard, when we let go of the need for control, we ourselves up to the flow state, we can harness the power of the unconscious mind, which is far more powerful and creative than our conscious minds. We also examined the potential pitfalls of flow, such as the potential for addiction to the state due to its rewarding nature, or the misuse of flow for destructive purposes. It is essential to balance our desire for flow with other aspects of life, and use it for constructive, not destructive, purposes. The journey to achieving flow is not an easy one. It requires practice, patience, and a genuine love for the process. But the rewards are worth it. You become more productive, creative, and happy. Your work becomes a source of joy rather than stress. You are not just surviving, you are thriving. So, what's the takeaway from all this?